set boundaries with my in-laws?
I don't know. If you could figure that out, you should write that book. You'll sell 1 trillion copies, planet-wide. What's up with your in-laws?
Well, they all work at the same family business.
Oh, gross. You're doomed. You're doomed, Ann.
And they all live on the same piece of land.
Oh, Lord.
And we just moved to the same city as them, so it's a newer issue that has kind of popped up. And we also just had a baby.
Are you the first one to have a baby in that family?
Yes, and also the first one to be married.
Nice. So the whole cult rests on you.
Pretty much.
There you go. All right. So what's going on? How are they making you uncomfortable? Or probably a better way to say that is, how are your in-laws taking peace from your brand new family in your developing and growing home?
Yeah. So my mother-in-law wanted to watch our baby. We have daycare typically, but she wanted to watch the baby for the day, and I agreed, and she texted me that morning and said, "Hey, I'm going to be an hour late." So I said, "No worries, just come a different day." And she went and checked my baby out of daycare so that she could spend time with her.
Hell to the no. No. Yeah, that's no bueno.
Right.
I wish you'd seen the whole booth. The whole booth was just like, whoa. Yikes. Okay, so what else?
They want to spend like 3 weeks of our time off from work together. And so when I push back on, hey, my husband and I are going to spend vacation together, they kind of send messages in a way that this is what we do for the holidays. You need to spend it with us. This is how we celebrate.
So my big question is, where is your husband in all of this?
So his method is to ignore and kind of tell them that we might show up, but we might not show up.
So he's a coward.
He likes to keep all the peace.
Yeah. And then he married you.
Yeah.
And so I get, man, peacekeeping keeps you safe when you're a kid, 100%. And if you grow up in a family business and a family compound and a family farm and a family everything, and this is what we do and this is how we do it, peacekeeping is a survival mechanism. So I honor your husband. Good for him. He did what he had to do.
Mm-hmm.
But then he looked at you and held both your hands and looked in your eyes and said, "Till death do us part." And that was the day he broke away from having to prop up emotionally immature parents.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "I choose you." And that means the peacekeeping days are over. Now it's honoring your wife. And honoring your wife is not sending vague gray messages to in-laws, because now they have another avenue, and it's you.
Right.
And you're having to carry all this stuff now. And so here, I mean, it's as simple as this. It's as simple as your husband telling his parents. Does he work at this family compound too?
No, he will finish his training and then has the option to.
Is he going to?
I think we've decided no.
We have. Has he?
Yeah.
Because if he's a person that does gray with them, he probably does gray with you too.
Oh, yeah.
And I say this all the time on the show. This is a real life example. The things you did as a kid to keep you safe will destroy your marriages.
Mm-hmm.
And so he probably tells you pretty often, yeah, like you're like, "Hey, I really want to go to the beach." And he's like, "Yeah, let's check that out." He's not going to the beach. And he just buys himself some time. And then kind of slowly it fades away, and you're like, well, he's not really interested, and I'm probably pushing too much. We may not have the money this time. And so you live in a perpetual state of disappointment. And then here's what I don't like about that kind of gray, just is you think something's wrong with you. And then somebody comes along and says, you will be here for Christmas. You're like, yes, ma'am, even though you hate it. Does that sound familiar? Or tell me if I'm wrong.
I think you're spot on. Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess it's very similar to a previous caller we just had. You're in a state of discomfort. And if you ask your husband, if you tell him that you need him to be more decisive and more instructive with his family, and more importantly, that you want to get away with him and decide together the kind of life y'all want to build, and you need him to take the lead with his family when it comes to boundaries and no more wishy-wash and no more gray, and by the way, you're doing it to me too, that's going to be uncomfortable also. Fair?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Fair.
So you're choosing either a discomfort over here or discomfort over here. But most of the time when we don't have these hard conversations in our marriage, we think it's because we don't want to become uncomfortable. And I always want to point out with a couple, you're uncomfortable now.
Yeah.
Let's choose the discomfort that's going to get us to the place where we want to be. And also, he needs the freedom to say, I want to be with my family every holiday, every Christmas. And you can say, then I'm going to murder you to death, right? Don't do that. Don't kill him. Do you think he actually wants to be there and he's kind of just quietly gaslighting you a little bit? Or is he just sick of the whole thing?
He would love to join the family business, but I think he knows that our marriage can't handle it.
Okay, so that's what I was getting at. Because here's where the trend, tell me if the trend is wrong. All my family is there. Let's just move to this town. It'll be fine. We'll have our own place. I'm not even done training yet. I'm not going to work there. But let's just move here so we can kind of be in the vicinity. It's the first kid and all that. And you're like, okay. And then this is crazy. They said that I could join the business and they're going to pay me X. I'm not going to do that, but man. And then it's this slow, it's almost like he knows where he's going to end up.
Right.
And he's just trying to slowly wear the edge off of you so he can ultimately get where he wants to be. And who does that? His mom. Right? He's just running the script that he knows.
Yeah.
And so how long have y'all been married?
4 years.
Okay. Can I tell you, this isn't crazy for marriages. This is pretty normal. Where two people get together, you have a kid, and then you both start running the scripts that you know. Or in my language, you start living into the pictures you just anticipated for your life. And he probably has a picture of his parents are loving grandparents and that he works at the family business and he takes it over one day and he's a bajillionaire and you get to live the life that his mom lived and on and on. And you have another picture of what you want this thing to look like.
Yeah, I do.
And so what y'all need to do is sit down and be very honest with each other about the pictures of what you want your life to look like. And that usually is a challenging conversation, but man, it can be the most awesome gift to your family, to you and to him. So as I'm talking, tell me where you have a point of pause. Tell me what it is. What are you worried about?
Well, in a couple of months, once the training is done, we do have the option to move away, which would kind of give us more distance and would go kind of back to how our marriage was before we were around them. But I don't want to crush my husband's dreams.
So you're just going to crush yours?
When you say it like that, yeah, I don't want to do that either.
Because I think the real magic here is figuring out, is there a way you can have the peace in your home and the laughter and the joy in your home without worrying that your mother-in-law is going to come take your kid out of school without you knowing?
Mm-hmm.
Or can he have the life he wants and have 2 or 3 really uncomfortable years learning that it was never his job to prop up his mother and her emotional dysregulation? That was not his job. It is his job to fully and wholly love his wife and his kids. And that's going to be a tough shift for him. It's hard. I mean, and I wouldn't, it's not an Instagram post. That's not a switch you flip. That's something you practice. It's very hard. Because his mom will text him and say, like, you're breaking my heart. You're taking my grandbaby away. This Christmas feels useless since you walked out. She'll do stuff like that, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so he's going to have to learn that that's not his job. And most people in that level of dysfunction need a professional. And so here's the easiest way to enter into this conversation, and I kind of love it. When you don't know what to do next, I'm a big believer in getting somebody you trust and somebody you care about who will be honest with you and still love you, and dumping the whole box on the table. What does that mean? Honey, how old's your little baby?
4 months.
Okay. Honey, we have a 4-month-old. In 4 months, you're about to be done, and I'm counting down the days because I'm terrified of what comes next. What do you mean? Because I feel like I don't want to build a life where you're a part of this family cult. Because the next step, by the way, Ann, is y'all are moving onto that property. You know that, and I do too. You do.
Right.
And he already has the plot picked out. His mom's already said, well, this is going to be for y'all if you ever want to come. And Dad's like, we'll give you a great deal on it. I'll even get the down payment. That's already in the works.
Yeah.
And so you can say, I feel like this is the future. And I'm already grieving that that's going to be my life. And all things on the table, we have an opportunity to move. And you are so invested in propping up your mom, not honoring and loving her, but being her therapist, being her support pet, that I feel like I'm going to break your heart by wanting us to move away, and I feel stuck. So instead of talking about family business and moving into the family compound and moving away, what if we first cleared the deck and said, what do we want our house to look like and feel like? Financially, emotionally, romantically, how many kids? If we could shake one of those 8 balls, how many kids we want to have? What do we want it to feel like when you walk in every day? And then let's go from there. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And if he looks at you and says, all right, all cards on the table, I'm moving onto that property. This is what we do. Then you, Ann, have to deal in that reality. Because right now, you're kind of avoiding reality a little bit, and he's kind of avoiding reality a little bit. Everybody's playing the gray game. Because he doesn't want to hurt your feelings, but he's going to work at the family business and move y'all onto the plot. And you don't want to hurt his feelings, but you're moving away back to where y'all were. And that's when you get a car wreck down the road.
Yeah.
So step 1, write down where you feel trapped. And what I've heard you say is, I feel trapped that this is going to be our end result. And I've told you since I married you, I didn't want this to be our end result. And I feel trapped that your mother-in-law is dictating my life, our life, and that we're just property in her little chess game. And I feel trapped that if I move us away, you're going to be so devastated that you're going to resent me forever. That's one of the traps I heard. And just go down a list, write these traps out, and then honor him by sitting down and loving him enough to be honest and say, I see a train wreck coming for us, and I want to slow the whole train down so that we don't crash. And that, to me, I think is the scariest, most vulnerable, but most honest and loving thing partners can do for each other. I see a train wreck coming. And the thing you do with your parents, I feel like you're doing with me. And by the way, I'm participating too. I married you, not your mom. Go make it happen, Ann. I know it's a scary, scary conversation. Again, I always offer this. I'm happy to talk to both of you. If y'all want to do a session with me together, I'll do a session with you guys for an hour. If y'all want to do that, we'll record it. That'd be fun. Or if he wants to call, how do you do this? He wants to choose you over mom. He didn't know how. I'm happy to talk to him there. But I'd love to hear how this conversation went. How this conversation went. Holler back at us and let me know. Because, by the way, millions and millions of people are going through this exact thing right now. And so your vulnerability and bravery is going to help a whole bunch of people, Ann.